think we're live now. I am sorry for starting so late. Wow, half an hour late. I honestly lost track of time. I've had some work stuff that came up, and just been a weird day. I seem to say that a lot. I don't know quite why, but point being, we're here. I'm hoping I can do some drawing, although I'm honestly not really focused tonight. But let's see what we can do. I want to do some animation tonight. I'd worked on. Let's go ahead and take away Alice for a second and talk a bit about animation. So I did animation last episode. Haven't got a chance to actually assemble that yet. I've scanned it, but just it's I haven't made the animation to that yet. So I want to do something new. Last time it was characters' hair moving or head moving and the hair shifting as a result of the head moving. I'd like to move on to some other kind of movement, and I'm thinking maybe some body movement, some simple stuff. We did the hand wave, which worked fairly well, and I kind of like to do some other kind of movement that is useful. Right, that is something that would be good practice, and I can't quite figure out what just yet. So we'll think about that while I'm getting my stuff together. Here's a pencil, which I need to sharpen. We can do that. Maybe have the character bounce up and down like this. I think maybe, I don't know. Maybe a walking animation or running animation. That's not a bad idea. Characters have to walk a lot. I do feel like walking cycles are a bit overused. You don't actually see characters just walking that often. But maybe it's not a bad idea to get an idea of the swing of a character, the gait as a character moves back and forth. Excuse me, that's tempting. And we did have Alice right there, didn't we? We could draw more of Alice walking. Let me pull out one of my animation books. Animator Survival Kit. You gotta be careful with animation books, because sometimes they're teaching you the way it's always been done, not necessarily like the best way to do it. And that's nothing against the classics, but sometimes something can be teaching you a principle that makes sense in general, but isn't necessarily useful for what you're trying to do. So here's some movement. Good example of walking. Bouncy walk on 8s. Counteraction. Movement, yep. Dancer swings foot through. Quite good. Yeah, this is pretty much all walking. The first thing to do in a walk is set a beat. Generally people walk on 12s. Let's move back a little bit more. Okay, yeah, this is starting there. So, getting the weight, that's important. The character actually has weight behind him or her. And the body moves up and down a bit as they walk. That makes sense. Yep, you're pushing off the feet into there. Do you want to figure out your tempo? Excuse me. You walk on 16s or on 8s. Fair enough. Don't have to worry about that too much since I'm not really cycling in classic 24 frames per second style. So there's 3 drawings. Contact positions, so left striking and right striking. And your pass position. The middle position and where we put it. Interesting. Huh. So you have a normal stride and then a weird middle. Again, this feels like it's going to be kind of cartoony. Interesting. So sort of silly walks, basically. So this has the two down positions and then an up. Yeah. Double bounce. Okay. So that gives us a good idea of what to do here. I think I'm going to try this method where we start with the character with 1 foot forward, then we draw the character with the other foot forward, then we draw a middle, and then we will eventually draw everything in between, which may just be 2 drawings in between, a total of 5 drawings. So yeah, let's give that a try. Okay. Another exciting thing about tonight, one of the other reasons I did want to stream and do things. Oh, let me let folks know. Okay. The book. Sorry for the bong. I'm almost done with this particular book, and in fact, if we do end up doing more than this, we're gonna have to play around a little bit because I only have 2 more pages in this book. Then I can move on to another book, which again feels very nice. I'm actually gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna take these pages out because, as I said before, it's really hard to draw when you have a big old ridge of metal there that your hand is banging against. So I'll go ahead and pull out these 2 pages, and then we will have a little ceremony for the book. I always seem to do a weird tear halfway through peeling something off. Same is true of paper towels. When I'm tearing off paper towels, halfway through the tear, it goes off. Must be something in how I do that. Okay. So, thank you, Sketchbook, for everything you've given us, and it's been a great ride. Well done. That now goes away. All right. Feels good, I gotta say, to have gotten through a book, and to be able to get to the very end of it. So let's go ahead and draw our character. We're going to keep this kind of to the side a little bit as we draw a bit. And so we just want, and I think we'll go ahead and do something, let's see here. I'll just sort of get a very basic idea of her head coming down to the neck and the hair, maybe a little bit more out, coming up to the ear, and that comes up to a very simple cut. That works. Although I think her neck should be in a little bit more. I like that. And then we'll do her very simple thing. So what do we have here? We have shirt like this, arm like this, yep. Okay, and then her skirt, which is tucked in. I'm not going to worry too much about the movement of the skirt. We'll just keep that here. But we do want her walking. So actually, we want her to be edged forward. So let's change that around. I do not have a problem with redoing something if I know it's wrong. So she should be leaning forward a little bit. So we'll have the shirt be doing this. And we know from over here somewhere that the arms are opposite, right? Typically. Yeah, so if you want right hand out, we want right back. Well, Daniel, the reason for that is that the U.S. population is concentrated on the East Coast and the West Coast. There are more people in Eastern Time and Pacific Time than there are in Central and Mountain. So that's just, what do they call it? A situation where it's confirmation bias. There's just more people to use that zone. So those are the zones that tend to show up. All right, so we want her to be doing this, so roughly, and we want that to be like that. So there's ooh, bit much. So there's her left arm, and then her skirt, which should be doing this basically. Because her left leg is going to be sticking out. Let's go ahead and make the skirt do that. And then the back leg will be doing this. Make sure that toe is on the ground. All right. Perhaps I have, yeah. So this needs to go up in. We can't see her leg from there. But how you doing, Daniel? What's new with you? So at the beginning of her walk, the proportions are a little off. Head versus waist versus legs. So I think we can get away with a longer skirt. And then longer legs. Yeah, that's feeling more right. And then the toe should be back here. Weird how that is. We're just like, yep, no, that feels more right. And so her arm's going to be back like this, maybe. And this arm forward and be like this. That's not bad. Starting to draw again. Awesome. Congratulations. What have you been drawing? Oh, that's right. Let's get the other light on there so you can see a little bit better. Ooh. Okay. So yeah, so we've got a decent start there. We'll give her her eyes. We need to figure out the shape. The shape's not right at all. She has no chin. Let's fix that. Slightly better. So the nose, so it should come basically down from the nose. Okay, we're getting closer. Yeah. Ah, real Awesome. That's more or less what I started with this series, was more realistic things, drawing poses, nudes and such. So let's see here. The hair, I think we should also fix. Should be more like that. I know we're not right. No, that's about right with that. I'm screwed up on the face, but I might just go ahead with this. Nothing really good. Yep, that's, man, if that isn't the motto of the artist. Nothing really good yet, but I'm getting better. I think that sums it up really well, Daniel. Well put. All right, let's go ahead and do this. So, again, I'm really just looking here for a character to draw multiple poses of and to get there. So I'm not too worried about it not looking exactly like Alice here. I'm just going to go ahead and ink this. As best I can. Man, this is a mess. And we'll do, as we found out, animation likes very clean, consistent lines. So I'm not going with anything really weird here, line-wise. In fact, I'm going very straightforward. Give her an ear. There's the hair. They get a slightly fuller head of hair. My Hero Academia. Cool, what do you think? That is a show I'm probably going to have to watch as part of a stream. Do a live stream of it or something. We'll make the arms a little thinner. Down to, again, sort of a rough hand shape. Do the shirt. And then the skirt. That line there. This line here. And the leg coming down to the feet. And then the foot here. So what I'm trying to do with the foot there is make sure that the feet touch on the imagined plane. And I am going to go slightly, no, we'll go with the same size pen for everything. Okay. So there's the beginning of our walking character. Very emotional. Interesting. Good to know. So this is going to be... and actually, I'm going to go A1. I'm leaving some space over here because I have this little issue. I have to scan these in. And it's much easier to align things on the left than with the right in terms of scanning things in. And this is a little larger than my scanner, so I have to cut off one edge or the other. And I used to be cutting off this edge, because this is often a ragged edge, but then getting exactly the right shape and so forth to put these in and animate them turned out to be really complicated. So it's much better to cut off a bit of the right side, and that way you have the same upper left on all of them. And it just means you have to, clean up things like this a little more. It's one of the reasons why I actually bought a smaller sketch pad for the future. I don't want to use these huge things. Good point. I could also use a ruler to make sure that we're getting to that plane. In fact, what I might do is... Nah, that's not a... So what I will do, though, is let me grab this. I'm going to draw a pencil mark. So I can erase that later, but that will serve as my my foundational line. Because I know if I scan this in and that line's still there, it's going to be slightly different places on each animation, each frame. So I'm going to try to not duplicate that. But actually, what I can do as well is put it on here. There we go. So there's our thing. Good idea, Daniel. So now, as we mentioned before, we're going to do kind of the opposite. So now her shirt is going to be like this, roughly. And her right arm is going to be swinging out in roughly the same position as the other one. We will keep her body in more or less the same position. This time it's going to be her other leg, although you can't really tell which leg is which. So I'm just going to basically redraw that skirt. I could probably be really fancy here and have the shirt be a slightly different shape so that I'm going from, basically from shape to shape. So in one, it's flared in one way, and the other it's flared in a different way. And so as I tween those, I would get a fun shape out of that. Let's try that, actually. I kind of like that idea. I'm going to change this so that it's up here, and then it's like that. So that lower fold is going to move a bit as she walks. And we'll see if that works. And then, like I said, this is the other leg, which is going to be in the same position. And again, we could get a little more complicated with that, but and then the other arm is going to be back here, slightly different position, and the other one, it's okay. And then her head. Try to mimic that line as much as possible. It'll be really interesting to see how closely I can match the previous line with this animation. Hard to tell. There we go. There's that line. And we do our head. Ooh, very wobbly line there. Okay. Vroom, vroom. Vroom, 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 vroom. I think. Oh no, okay. It just goes down to there. Good to know. And then we draw the chin up to the nose. The nose curls in. We do the eye. Again, as before, I could have shifted around the position of the the hair a little bit as it's moving back and forth. We're not going to do that this time. And then we have our, I don't know, and we have our smile. Okay, I think we've covered it. Tips for drawing eyes. Good question, Catfish Writer. For me, I have to explore a lot. I'm the exact same way. I draw the right eye, left eye looks different. Left eye, right eye draws different. There is a professional manga artist who draws the right eye one way and then like turns the paper over and does the other eye the other way. He says, I cannot draw characters from one side or the other. I have to like draw a character here or draw a character here so the eyes are different. If I try to draw them straight on, just like that, they will be weird, so he just doesn't ever do that. So that is one trick, to just never draw your character's face on. And I mean, hey, he's a professional mangaka. What more can you say? Other ways of doing it I've seen people try is literally using a mirror, and you hold up a mirror and look at what that would look like. So sort of, this is your eye, this is the mirror, and you look at that and then draw on the other side of the mirror. But I do think it's practice to a lot of extent. It's just drawing that. I would also recommend, this is something I will probably do at some point soon, is just draw a bunch of eyes, left eye, right eye, and just really focus in on trying to get those to match. But yeah, it's tough. Also, important, I draw simple eyes. I don't try to go for the big shoujo eyes with lots of different complexity for that exact reason. So try simpler eye designs, I would say. All right, so that's that. Let's go ahead and ink. I forgot to put in how big. I think that's about how big that is. Okay, let's do our eyes. But eyes are really hard. And also, in fairness, like, I'm not even trying to do good eyes here, because I know my eyes suck. And it's just really hard to get that right. Okay. I can feel, interestingly enough, my lines are getting better tonight. The more I do this, the better my lines are. And I don't know why that is. But I can definitely feel myself getting a steadier hand. Maybe that's just practice. Maybe it's just, tonight I needed to get some bad lines out of me before I could start drawing some reasonably good lines. And these are not great lines, but they're definitely way smoother than earlier in the night. So that's interesting. And of course, a lot of it is just practice. Once that's done, we will do that. Hours drawing body parts. 3 hours to do. Yeah, totally. I mean, the professionals spend tons of time getting this right. That is just kind of the reality of it. It doesn't come easy to anybody. And I mean, even Todd McFarlane, he has his artistic peccadillos, right? There are some who are not crazy with the way he draws bodies. And it's just, you gotta figure it out. You gotta put in your dues. It's something I find actually really kind of satisfying, or a relief that everyone struggles with this stuff. Don't expect to be amazing on your first drawing. Okay. Do that skirt. One of the reasons I'm doing all these animations is just to play around with animation, to recognize that animation itself is a skill, and I can spend a lot of time worrying about the art of the character, or spend a lot of time worrying about how animation works. But if I try to do both, I'll drive myself crazy. So I'm okay with drawing, cheesy characters here, so I can focus on how the character moves. And I will separately think about stuff like proportion and making it look good. It just takes so much time and effort to figure all this stuff out. That goes down to there. And we'll do her feet. And then the back of her hand. Or rather, her other hand. Okay. So now we have two positions. This is A2. Let us study. I'm sorry. Yeah, that feels like she's walking. Very, very simply, obviously. But we're getting that idea. Yeah, they really go nuts with the eyes these days. Granted, the 80s had its share of crazy eyes, the really shoujo-y stuff. But like you say, the moe stuff these days is really hard to practice. So I would go back and focus on those simpler characters. There we go. Okay, there's that. Now we'll do A2, and then we'll draw the middle drawing. And figure out what that should look like. I do not know. I think she's going to have a spring in her step, so she's probably going to come up a bit on that. Just kind of makes sense to me. Don't know why. Okay. So, there's that. So let's get another piece of paper. I think I have some. Yeah. I have a big drawing pad. I'm going to use that. This was a sketch pad. And we'll see what the difference is. It'll be about the same size. Yeah. And we'll go ahead and trim that. I wonder if the weight of the paper is heavier. The old sketch paper was 400 series. Does it say? Fine tooth surface, 60 pound. This is 70 pounds. Yeah, heavier paper, and yeah, it barely shows through at all. So that's a problem. I can't draw her very well. So let's see here. I also got. Oh, this is even worse. Mixed media, which is 98 pound. So yeah, this is basically cardstock. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to see anything with this. It's time to go back to the craft store and get another piece of paper. start with A1. Another sketch pad. Well, now I know. And I've learned. So that's fine. I guess I could grab... Let me grab just a piece of paper. I actually get kind of heavier paper. That's not really any better. Yeah, it's a little better. Okay, yeah. I can do it, though. Okay. So, that stinks. I have several pads of paper now that's going to be kind of not very helpful, at least for animation. Maybe I can use them for other stuff. All right. So, you can just barely see her. So, go back to our stuff. And you're right, Catfish Writer. Digital style today definitely helps with that. So, different middle poses. If it goes up, it feels something. If it goes down, it feels different. Squash, bend, bounces all over the place. This feet can swing all over the place. Tilt head and shoulder. But yeah, I think she's going to be going upwards. So, let's, in fact, can I just do this? Basically get her upper body, I think I can, and then just change the lower body. Let's try that. That's kind of funky, but I think it'll work. So I'm going to redraw the upper body just at a different position on the paper. Excuse me. And then once we get to the lower body, redraw that. This is going to be really tricky. It's almost impossible to tell where... Okay. I need like tracing paper for this. And this comes down to here. I am kind of tempted to do some hair bounce, but I think for my very first walking animation, maybe that's a little bit more. Well, but digital, I mean, the advantage of digital is you don't even need a steady hand because everything can be immediately reworked. You just press a button and your previous line disappears, which is very handy. I've tried, but that is a very different set of skills. So I'm not ready for that yet. Again, nothing wrong with it, but definitely difficult. Or just, its own way of doing things. All right, then here's her thing. So we want arms where? Where are the arms? Very jaunty. Okay, they can be pretty straightforward. We can give her a bit of a swing out. But I don't think we'll do that. We'll go with a fairly normal middle of the road position here. That about right for her? Yeah, a bit too big. She has spindly arms, spindly. Yeah. Okay. And then chest there. The other arm is presumably in the back. Now, again, we move it up because we want her... I may have to readjust this all over again. Yeah, I think I went too far on that. So let's just go that far. This is the advantage of having a line. Let's redo the line before we go any further. Well, no, we don't want to redo the line yet. We want to... Okay. Figuring it out. So yeah, so that's going to be there. So let's redo the line there. So I know that's her... That's where the skirt's going to come down to. That makes sense? No, I want that to be higher. Okay. Because she's bouncing up. Right. Okay. We're getting there. We're figuring it out. So there's the line. There's the ground, so to speak. Put that in as a marker. Then I can have her skirt be coming down like this. Doing that. And coming down like that. And then her legs are going to be... Oh, interesting. Right. That's 1 foot like this. And another... Oh, she should not be leaning. Dang it. Well, she can lean. Then another foot sort of coming like this. Is that right? And that goes to where? Where's my other? There's A1. Where's A2? Where'd you go, A2? There you are. Yeah, I think that's right. So we've got basically... Yeah, that seems about right. And then we'd really just need to redraw these a little bit. I could even do that on the computer to just essentially swap out the left leg and the right leg. So let's go ahead and ink this. I need her smile. As hard as that is to find. Okay. Let's go ahead and ink that. We're getting there. Yeah, they're using more and more tablets in anime. There's still a lot of paper, as I understand it, at least in the sketching phase. But usually the sketch is then uploaded and inked and colored and so forth. So still a lot of paper for the base drawings, but yeah, a lot more computers these days. Proportions with a circle as a base and a cross plus sign. I think that makes a lot of sense. I do it myself now and again. And I think it's a very, very reasonable way of approaching it. I often find if I do that, then I tend to get lost in the cross. I think that the cross ends up becoming kind of the face of the character. Instead of being a representation for the face of the character, I'm like, okay, well then the character has a face, has a cross now for a face. And I kind of can't extract the eye position from that cross. It's just the way my brain is wired. So I may have to practice it some more. But let's go ahead and do this. Oops. But that makes sense trying to draw with the mouse. I do have a like a Wacom tablet here, which I may try one of these days. Like I played around with it before, but I just never could quite get the right rhythm going. But I was just playing around, like I wasn't really focusing on it. So maybe with some real effort. A lot of folks swear by them. Although they might be better for things like coloring, frankly, than drawing. Who knows? I'm sure it also varies depending on person. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I wonder if it's better to do a lot of pencil drawing and then do all your inking all at once to kind of get in the flow of inking. It'd be an interesting experiment. Because I do feel like once I get going with the inking, my lines are better. But that could be an illusion. Really hard to tell. There we go. Get that skirt flowing. Ooh, real messy lines there. I should probably just practice, like, drawing with a pen. You know, just inking and getting nice, smooth flow with the pen, get a feel for which directions I can ink most effectively in. Whether it's easier for me to do it in one direction or another. Okay. Okay. Oops. Eyebrow. And you can see now why artists back in the 50s and 60s did so much of limited animation, where you draw the head once and then the body moving, because it is really hard to catch all the different subtleties of the character's motion and all that stuff. Okay. So what do we got? A1, A2. Let's go ahead and do it that way. Try to align our baselines. And see what we have. Actually, no, we want this one in the middle, because it is in the middle. Align that with this one. There we go. And align that with this one. There we go. Oops. Okay. That's about right, I think. Yeah, it's really hard to get a sense of that, but that does feel like she's walking. That's really cool. Again, if I were doing this really carefully, I would probably end up doing in-betweens, right? But this, that's not bad. Huh. Wow. It feels like she's actually moving. That's really weird. Okay. I think that'll do it for me for tonight. Again, I've got work to plan for tomorrow and other stuff going on. Apologies for starting late. That was totally my fault. We've been here for about an hour. This is a good amount of work for tonight. So probably next week, I might tween this. I'll definitely scan it in and draw the rest of it. Oh, that's before we forget. Ooh, that's not A2 anymore. That's A3, and this is A2. And it may end up becoming sort of A1, A3, and A5, but at least we know what we have and what we're documenting. And yeah, so I think we're here. We're good to go. So like I said, I think more animation next week. I would like to start working on some seinen stuff, some more realistic character designs. But it'll have to wait for a week when I'm not quite as busy, unfortunately. Thank you all very much. We will see you next time. Have a great week.